Thank you for staying with us. We now get into matters of family, and today our conversation is beyond the certificate. What is a marriage worth? And this conversation, the context to this conversation is we all know that, the court got to rule that childbearing, domestic work, and home management, or what we call unpaid domestic work, can now be recognized as contribution. And can earn one a share of matrimonial property, and that is the conversation that we will be having this morning. I am joined by my far right. We have Kasande Annette. Kasande Annette is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya and is also a managing partner, Kasande Advocates. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Vivian.
All right, and then next to Kasande, we have Cleopa Njiru. Cleopa is a counseling psychologist and is also the founder and director of Viva Mind Solutions Limited. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
This is a very interesting conversation, and I know that our viewers also want to just get to understand what exactly does this mean. And when we talk about, it's having a share of the matrimonial property beyond the marriage certificate, just by someone being or having contributed in-house chores in one way or the other. How do you equate that even? That's the whole question, but we'll get into all of that. And I want us to begin by first asking a very simple question. Might seem simple, but maybe not as simple. From you as the advocate, when we talk about marriage in Kenya, what are we looking at? How come we stay marriages that are recognized? Just when you talk about marriage, what marriages are recognized in the country legally?
Thank you so much, Vivian. And I'm so happy that you've asked what is a marriage, because it sounds so obvious to our viewers, but it's actually not. So the way Kenya is governed by the Constitution of Kenya 2010, it's the way marriages are governed by the Marriage Act of 2014. Of 2014. So you don't decide which is a marriage and which is not. The marriages actually are listed there in the Act. And under the Marriage Act of 2014, we have monogamous marriages. That means you cannot marry more than one spouse. And that is the Hindu, the Christian, and then the civil. And then we have polygamous marriages. That means that you can marry more than one spouse. That's under the Islamic law, and also customary marriages. So those are the marriages. And the definition of marriage is actually, I like stating the definition. Why? Because so many people get confused about this. It's very clear that we should have clarity from the beginning. It's a voluntary union between a man and a woman. How the viewers take that information, it's up to them. But it's between a woman and a man. Okay? And more so, it's not just a union. You must be married amongst the marriages that I've said, and you ought to have a certificate. So it ought to be registered, and as a result of the registration, you ought to be issued a marriage certificate. So beyond that, like the way you've heard, if you don't fall under the marriages I've stated and you don't have a marriage certificate, you're not married. So I hope that's clear.
That's very clear.
Yes.
Yeah, so those are the only ways that are recognized as, marriages in the country. And I want to invite our viewers. You can get to talk to us on WhatsApp. We have a number. The number is 0707 303 212. 0707 303 212. You can get to contribute to this conversation. Just WhatsApp us and let us know what your views on this are. Cleopa, you've heard, what Annette has mentioned, and I just want us to, I would like for you to talk on beyond the certificate. What is a marriage worth beyond that certificate?
I would start by saying that a marriage is an emotional unit, as well as a legally unit. Emotional is in the sense that the people in the system, the people in the marriage contribute to whatever happens in the marriage. And the contribution could be physical in terms of their physical presence, what they do to each other every day. Could be emotional in terms of how they support each other. And more so when the family is growing up, when they meet, there is a way they relate with each other to build a future together. And how they relate with each other is the outcome of what the family unit will be. So when we have a healthy family or a family that is progressing, it's because of the contribution of each member in terms of emotions, in terms of their intellectual ability, in terms of their physical presence. So a family or a marriage is a unit where all the members are involved in different ways in making it functional. So for me, that is what I would start with.
Yeah. Now, getting back to the unpaid domestic work recognized as a contribution to matrimonial property. When we look at that, just if you can talk about it generally, or you can help us understand what that means exactly. And, you know, also, when we look at that, I'm sure we're talking about it when it comes to the division of property, and this is after a divorce. So if you can just speak on that.
Thank you, Vivian. Having defined marriage, it's also important to define what a divorce is. And I said marriage, you have to have a certificate. Therefore, even for divorce, you have to go to court. You cannot say, I'm divorced. You pack your things, you go home and say, I'm no longer with this person. It's actually a court process. So once again, having divorced, it's also very important for our viewers to know that you cannot divide matrimonial property when you're still married. I hope that's clear. So when you divorce, there's that final document they give you. It's called a decree absolute. It's only after you get that document that you go to court now to seek for division of matrimonial property. I hope that's clear.
So when you're still married, there's no way you're asking for a division of matrimonial property?
No. However, you can go to court and get remedies to protect your property. For instances, for example, if someone is a polygamous man, there are 3 wives, and you contributed to, you know, to obtaining this property together. You're the first wife. You worked so hard to get this property together with your husband, and now your husband wants to sell it to be able to marry a second wife. So you can go to court and get remedies, you know, to protect that property. However, court will not divide. I hope that's clear. You can get remedies in the interim, and court can also declare it's matrimonial property, but the court will not divide until you are divorced. That's why if someone goes to a lawyer who doesn't understand these things, they'll go to court for division because you've quarreled, now you want to divide. The court will send you back and say, you're still married, we cannot divide it. So therefore, we have to first do a divorce and then go back to court for division of matrimonial property. So going back to your question, one would also wonder, what is this matrimonial property? Because there's a lot of confusion where people are saying, I contributed to this property, or it belongs to my husband, therefore I have a 50-50 share in this property. So actually the property, just like the way marriage is governed by the Marriage Act of 2014, in law, the matrimonial property also has an act, which is the Matrimonial Property Act of 2013. It defines what matrimonial property is. Back to your question. It is property where the 2 of you live as husband and wife. It's also household goods, things like sofas, okay? It's also property that is jointly owned by husband and wife. It provides what this matrimonial property is. So one would also wonder, we stay in this house and my husband buys an apartment that we are not living in, we are getting rent, and we divorce. Am I entitled to that property? That is what we call separate property. So if it's registered in your husband's name, that goes back to the question you're asking, contribution. What was your contribution? Yes, you stay in this matrimonial home, but then what was your contribution in respect to this other apartment?
one would argue, I'm just trying to look at a scenario where maybe from what you were just explaining, you know, maybe the husband has gotten property, this is his property, he's bought an apartment elsewhere. Can the woman then argue that she contributed, maybe not monetary wise, but she contributed in ensuring that she is ensuring that the home is well taken care of. She is ensuring that the children are being taken care of in the house. She's ensuring that everything is just working around the house, so that she's removing that stress off of the man, and he's able to go out there and make money to be able to buy that property. Can that be argued out that way?
So there are two properties that we are talking about here. There's matrimonial property, where we live as husband and wife. I'm looking after the children, I'm giving you companion, I'm managing the home, even if I have a nanny, okay, for you to go and work. That is matrimonial property as per the law, where we stay. And that is my contribution. So upon divorce, I might not have given you money to buy this house where we stay, but I've contributed non-financial. My contribution is non-financial because I've looked after you in this property where we stay. Let's not confuse the issues. But for this separate property where my husband has gone and gotten a mortgage, bought another apartment, we don't stay in that apartment. It's called separate property. So for me to include this one is a bit automatic. You can, and again, it's not 50-50. You have to show whatever contribution, even by you saying childcare, managing the home, it's not automatic. You really have to prove to the court, and the court will not give you 50-50. It's the discretion of the court. So if you put 50 million and for you, your contribution is caring for the children in that home, giving him companionship, it's upon the discretion of the court. However, with this separate property, you also have to show your contribution. And remember, you don't stay in it. So we are not looking at companionship, just like the matrimonial home. We are not looking at caring of the children. So what have you contributed in respect to this separate property? So that will be his, even though he's gotten it in the course of the marriage. And I forgot to say that all these properties have to be in the course of the marriage.
Not one that you found someone already having.
It's good that you ask that. So you could have a plot when you're a young man. My husband could have a plot, marries Annette, okay? You had it before you married me. You acquired it before you married me. Then, because Annette is very ambitious, we construct apartments on that plot. Then we divorce, and you say, lawyers advised us that matrimonial property is any property that is got within the course of the marriage. This is not part of it. So that is not matrimonial property for sure, but the court will look at your beneficial interest, but you have to prove. So you can still get a share of that other property that he came with in the marriage.
All right, I want to get Cleopa's point of view as a psychologist. When you talk about contribution, like the scenario that we just mentioned, whereby there's this husband, they live in this home together, the matrimonial home, but they've gone and acquired another property outside, they have their apartment for rentals and all. Can the woman, just from the psychological part of it, can the woman rather feel like, or is it proper for her to feel like she has also contributed in him buying this property, maybe not money-wise, but she has given him that environment to be able to work and make the money and buy?
I would like to continue with where I started by saying that a marriage or a family is an emotional unit or is a system whereby each member of that system has got a part to play. And that's why we are saying there are silent things apart from the material or physical things that we can be able to see. There are those things that happen from the time two people meet, when they are just dating, the time they spend together, the way they build their relationship, the way they talk about themselves and understanding each other. That is where the system starts. And as they continue, they move on developing that system by how they turn to each other. When a husband is not happy the wife will come and say something that would make the husband happy. When the wife is unhappy, the husband will say something that will make the other one happy. And so those kind of things. Then when they have difficulties, even in their working, if they're in business, and there's a deal that is not going on, or they are working and there's a problem in the office, the other partner will also give something in terms of helping that person to go through whatever issues they have. Now, let us come to children when they are growing up. Like early days of children, there is a lot of science that says the way the mother or the father, because here I would want us to look at both genders, because there are times you'll find the man is responsible for the well-being of the family. He may not contribute a lot in terms of material, but when it comes to emotional availability, taking care of the children, being available when these children are born, even being with the mother when the children are growing, the same with the mother, that whatever you do, the time you spend with the children will determine how that child will be when they grow up, when they learn well, when they participate well in school. And that's a part of what will come to the family, to the marriage in terms of property. So when we are thinking of matrimonial property, we need to go beyond what we can see. And this we can go even to the boda man, who is waking up and going to carry people in the morning and he buys a sofa set, or who is helping in the education of children, or the mama boga, any person. And then also for the rich person who can be able to stay with the children and provide for the well-being of the family. So as a system, the children are contributing. And that's why we need to go even beyond. When we are thinking of matrimonial property, we need to go beyond the couple. We ask ourselves, these children who have been supporting you emotionally in every way, when we are talking about separation and divorce, where are we leaving these children? Who also have participated in whatever is available, what we can see, both material and emotional. And so we ask ourselves, how do we help people to relate in a way that they respect each other, that they don't abandon the other one? Like you can see among the elderly, you'll find a wife abandoning a husband to go around greeting the grandchildren. And this man is not enjoying the fruit of the children they brought up. And then also the man who is also equally well gifted financially, and the children are surrounding him, and the mother is somewhere in the village or somewhere in an estate, alone and lonely. So all these things are the things that we are looking at. How do we ensure, how can we help the community so that people may change the way they think? Because this is a matter of thinking. Even before we think of what the law says, is how do people think about matrimonial property?
And I like that. And just to our viewers, remember, you can be part of this conversation. You can weigh in on the conversation. You can talk to us. The number is 0703-303-212. 0707-303-212. Let us know when you hear of contribution in marriages. What, for you personally, what does that look like and what does it mean? And before I get back to our advocates, maybe back to you, Cleopa. You know, more often than not, when it comes to families, many a times the dream of the man is what is being supported, you know. And by this I mean sometimes women get into marriage and they tend to forget whatever dream they were chasing, because now they have to take care of the children maybe and all of that. So maybe even career-wise, they take a step back. So how can one be able to support their partner or their fellows, their spouses' dreams, while also at the same time not putting theirs aside, while also being able to pursue their own?
That's a very good, important point, and that comes to what we have said. But I would like, first of all, to ask ourselves, because here, when we are thinking of matrimonial property, the mind goes into separation and divorce.
Yes.
And then we could ask, are there some people, psychologists or researchers, who has come into why do people separate or divorce? There is one known researcher called Gottman. Gott is Gottma. he says that he can be able to predict within 95% accuracy a couple that is likely to divorce, even predict when they are going to divorce. Okay. And there are 4 things he says, and these are things he has watched in a laboratory setup for more than 20 years with more than 3,000 couples. The first is criticism. When people are criticizing each other. When you are criticized, you go into defense. And defense comes from the way we have been brought up from childhood by our parents. When you feel your personality has been attacked, how do you defend yourself? And defense can be either positive or negative. When it is negative, then you may go into contempt, feeling you are more superior. And that is where now, when a man is having, or a woman for that matter, is having the material, the money, he may feel, or the lady may feel she's more superior than this person who is equally intelligent, emotionally intelligent, who has allowed himself not to continue with the career so that they can build a house. So that is where contempt comes. Even people start using harsh ones and all that, and the person feels something, because I sacrificed my career, I sacrificed my dreams because of the family. And then finally is when people keep off from each other, they don't talk. Those are the 4 things. But then the beauty is, he says, for us not to have divorce and separation, we can build a relationship house, which is built through understanding each other, through coming to each other whenever you have need, and most of all is what you have said, shared dreams. So that even if the man is adored, he is working, he has money, he has a good business, then as a couple they need to be helped through therapy and counseling. How can they participate in each other's dream so that the man is participating in the dream of the wife, what she wants to be, or the wife is also participating. So when the 2 of them start having shared dreams, then you will not be talking about divorce. And then they move on into, even when they make mistakes, when they don't understand each other on money matters, on investment, then how can they repair that? How can they come together? And you know the beauty of this is something scientific, but people need to be taken step by step. And in that case, nobody will feel bad because I chose to stay with the children, which now we talked about attachment. Because attachment is your availability when the children are growing up, from breastfeeding all through to adult life. This wife who has given up a career, a corporate job to be with the children, she feels valuable because of the children she has brought up and the family, including the spouse who she is taking care of.
That is very, very well put. You know, just trying to look at ways in which we don't get to that point where we need to have the division of property, you know, and which is really, really needed, because, I mean, that's the dream for everyone, but, well, things happen. So when these things happen, you had mentioned for a woman to be able to maybe seen that, or to be seen as a contributor in wealth of that marriage, you need to have proof. So how am I supposed to show proof when my contribution was just being at home? How do I show proof? What am I bringing to court as proof?
Okay, thank you. I would like to give you a famous case that we have in the legal corridors. There's a case called Esharia versus Esharia. It's actually a case that really talks about contribution, and it went all the way to the Court of Appeal. So this gentleman was a diplomat, and he was posted in different countries. He was in Washington, D.C. At some point, he was in London. Another point, he was in Addis Ababa. So what that meant, because he was a diplomat, the wife left her job, whatever she was doing, and was traveling in all these countries with the husband. Okay? Maintaining the husband in all those different countries. So fast forward, the husband bought farmland in Tigoni, in Limuru, 118 acres. Okay? As he said, you know, when you enter marriage, you wish for the best. But unfortunately, the times we are living in, and even the divorce rates are higher than before. One would wonder why. But life happens. So this was a long time ago, as 1987. So he bought 118 acres in Limuru. The title was in his name. Upon divorce, the lady moved to court to request for division of matrimonial property. She had not contributed financially. So when she went to court, she requested that, you know, they share the property 50-50. And court asked her, what's your contribution? He said, you know, as we moved to all these countries, I cared for the family. I gave him companionship to be able to get money to buy these 118 acres. I mean, that's a lot of land.
Yeah.
And court considered that. So back to your question, how do you prove this contribution? It's also very important for our viewers to know that it's not automatic. You don't merely say, I'm a mom, I looked after children. No. Give like concrete evidence. At some point, you know, most people out of the country don't have nannies. Like for that case. Yeah. I was looking after the children. I was cooking for him. I was there. You have to prove, unfortunately, and I hope that's clear. It's not automatic. So the court gave, they divided the property 50-50 in that case. The man was not happy with the judgment. He appealed to the Court of Appeal. And what court said, they recognize that there is this non-financial contribution of caring for the children, of companionship and all that. However, it's upon the discretion of the court. So the man, upon appealing, he was given 75%. So it was reversed. It was no longer 50-50. He was given 75% and the woman was given 25%. So if you had receipts, even that's the best.
Okay.
But I always tell people, fall in love with wisdom because times have changed. And he will agree with me. His times are not my times today. Things have changed. People are not genuine people. So for us, lawyers would say, you know, the best time in court is when you have evidence, unfortunately. For this contributions, non-monetary contributions for care, you know, child... the companionship and all that, you really have to prove to court. Of course, there you'll have no receipts, but you can show, you can have photographic evidence, you can have receipts. But again, the discretion is on the court.
Okay. Yeah. I want to read some of the questions here that are coming in. Someone says, hello, kindly ask the advocate, what if the parent is dead? That is, for example, if a mother is dead, can the second wife come and own anything in the family? And then this other one says, on the issue of separate property, doesn't the wife's role help him be able to expand his financial capacity? She takes care of his other needs and makes his work out there conducive. Eliminating the woman is very unfair in my view. So this is just an opinion. Back to that other question. If maybe the mother of the house is dead and then there's a second wife who's been married legally and is there, can the second wife come and own anything from the family?
So it's very important to note, I forgot to mention, that children are not spouses.
Yeah.
Number one. The married man here owns this house we are in. And unfortunately, I die. Whose property is it for? The title is in his name. We are not joint tenants. Joint tenants is when you own property together. When one dies, automatically it goes to the surviving spouse. So automatically the law has provided for him, it goes to him. Number two, if it's in his name, then it stays his property, unfortunately. Because we are not talking about contribution. You cannot come as a daughter and say, my mom contributed to this property. And
so the question is on whether the second wife has a say in the property that she came in and found the husband having.
So for purposes of polygamous marriages, if you're the first wife and you've contributed to that property, the law will divide that property according between the two of you. If the second one comes and you own that property before the second person comes, the law will presume that the first wife contributed. So the division will be between the first wife and this man. So if the third wife comes and you get another property, the law will presume that the first, the second, they all have a share in respect to this property. But now this person has died. We are talking about succession law now. We are not talking about division of matrimonial property. You are dividing only if the person is alive. So if the person dies, we are following the law of succession. Unfortunately. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have gotten to answer their question there. Now, unfortunately, we have to come to an end of this conversation. Time moves so fast. But maybe just from your point of view, Cleopa, what would be your parting shot in this conversation?
My parting shot is, when we are thinking of marriage or family, let us go beyond material and find meaning and purpose even in your contribution to the well-being of the other person, to the bringing up of children, to helping the community. So let our thinking start being beyond, so that we find meaning in the contribution you have made, in the work you have made, in the money you have given. And so we start thinking of marriage beyond just property. We start thinking of what have we helped the other person in the relationship to become? What have we helped the other people, the children, to be? So the thinking of the people is, let us do things because we are giving something to the humanity. Not necessarily what do I have, what shall I have, but just be open. And that way now you get more and you become happy and live a happy life.
Cassandra?
For me, I would say fall in love with wisdom.
Once again.
Yes. There's what is talked about, but there's the reality. If you own property before you marry, talk about it. Communication is key. You talked about communication. It's very important. You can have what we call the prenuptial agreements. Agree beforehand. This is the property I'm coming with. Upon divorce, I don't look forward to divorce, but this is what will happen. Have that agreement, but most importantly, get information. Information is here with us. So you cannot run away from the fact that you need to acquaint yourself with information. It's very important, even as you're in this marriage. Talk about it, but also know, so that there's no selective amnesia. Whom does this belong to and all that? And people don't have to go to court for division of matrimonial property. I think that's very important. You can agree. You can have a round table meeting between your lawyers or even your relatives, understand who takes what. You don't really have to go to court and fight over. If you consider the things he was talking about, marriage is beyond dissolution of marriage is beyond dividing of properties. We are looking at relationships. We are looking at extended family. Family is here to stay with us, even after dissolution of marriage. But be informed.
I like that. And that is the proper way for us to end this conversation. Thank you so much for joining us for this. And I believe this is a conversation that maybe we can have another time, create time for it and get to talk about it as well. And right now I can see my colleague Victor is back in studio with us. Victor, this was a very thought-provoking conversation, and it's a conversation that maybe has made a lot of people get to open their minds and their eyes. As Cassandra was saying, you fall in love with wisdom. Don't just fall in love.
I have a question. Cassandra.
Yes.
Ogambashi. I have a question. There is this paradox that says that the more you know, the more problems you have. Don't you think that the marriage nowadays, we are reading too much into it? We're just reading too much into it. And there's something you said, use your wisdom. How about, Cleopa can help us. What was so much way back in the days?
Okay, Victor, they need to check your mic, but maybe I can just allow Cassandra to answer that as we finish. Are we looking too much into marriages now? As he's saying, we are looking too much into it.
As I said, we must appreciate the fact that things have changed. We have more financial problems than before. And therefore, children have to eat, they have to sleep. Before, it was the community that was helping us, our neighbors and friends. But things have changed, unfortunately. And therefore, I always tell people, you cannot go to the highway and pray to God that the car will not knock you. Okay, just like the way people plan for weddings, why not talk about this marriage of ours, including property that we own? Why should we shy away from these topics? Or talk about money? Why should we shy away from these topics? Yeah.
So we cannot bury our heads in the sand.
No. We have to be informed, unfortunately. Even AI has come. Just type, ask, what are my rights? If you can't afford a lawyer.
Yeah. Something as simple as that.
Yes.
All right. Being told we need to wind up.